Hey friends, it's Corey from Hey Let's Make Stuff. In today's video, I'm so happy to introduce you to the newest Cricut machines. So over here we have the new Cricut Maker 4, and over here we have the new Cricut Explore 4. And in this video today, we're going to go into the differences between these machines and the previous generation, as well as reasons why you might want to upgrade or stick with your current machine. A big thank you to Cricut for sending both of these machines to me before the launch so I could check them out, test them, so that I can help you make the best buying decision for your needs and your budget. So as you can see here, the machines look basically the same as they have in previous generations. This is sort of a minor step up, a next generation, sort of like when you upgrade your phone. It's not an entirely new phone with entirely new components and everything. It just has some small features that might make you want to upgrade. We will talk about those features here in a bit, but let's start out by talking about what comes in the box. One of the things that Cricut wanted to do was to make it easier to get started using your machine without having to buy a lot of extras. So they have included more inside the box than they have in the past, and I think this is really good because you're not wondering, oh my gosh, am I even going to be able to get started using my Cricut? You have everything you need to make maybe 10 projects, not big projects, but you can make 10 projects with everything that comes in the box. So of course in the box you are going to get your machine. This is the Maker 4, this is the Explore 4. You're also going to get some power cables. There's going to be a USB cable, and I think for the first time this is a USB cable that goes to a USB-C instead of an old USB-A cable, which is really nice for those of us who have computers that have this particular port and no USB port. However, I didn't use this. I set up both of my machines using Bluetooth. Then of course you're going to have your power cable, and I want to talk just about this one little change. So this power cable has this nice little 90-degree angle, and if I pull off this other cable here, you can see that the old cable does not have that 90-degree angle. I want basically every plug for every device, my house, my craft room, to have a 90-degree angle like this, because it just takes up so much less room in the back of the machine. Obviously, you're going to need to pull out the machine if you're cutting, but this makes it so much easier to store because you can actually store it closer to the wall. So anybody listening who makes crafting machines, coffee makers, whatever, just start putting these little 90-degree angle cords on them and I will be much happier. You're also going to get a blue Cricut cutting mat. This is something I don't feel like they've included in the box in a long time, and it's one of those things that people always have to buy when they get a Cricut, so it's nice that one comes with it. And then you're going to get sort of this selection of materials. So we have some cardstock, there's a whole bunch of transfer tape, there is some iron-on vinyl, and then there's actually 3 sheets of smart vinyl. I've used 2 of my sheets already, so I only have 1 here. But this is enough to make some projects, which is really nice. Usually they'll give you this tiny scrap of vinyl, but this is quite a few different materials to play with. So if you're new to Cricut and you don't really know what you're doing, having a selection of materials like this can really help you learn what you actually like to do. Do you want to work with vinyl? Do you want to work with iron-on? Do you like transfer tape? Those sorts of things. And that means that when you go to buy, larger quantities of materials at the craft store, you'll know exactly what you're looking for because you've played around with these materials. And then finally, you're also going to get a pen, as well as the world's smallest weeding tool. This looks really small, but honestly, it's actually pretty comfortable to use, so you don't necessarily need to go out and buy yourself a whole kit of tools to use your Cricut. This is enough to get started, and it comes in the box. Setting up both of my Cricut machines was actually really easy. I just followed the prompts inside Cricut Design Space, and I connected them via Bluetooth. I prefer not to have to be wired into my computer, and I haven't had any issues with connections or anything like that. I'm not going to go through how to set it up because it's different depending on whether or not you are setting it up on your computer or your mobile device, or whether or not you have a PC or a Mac. Just follow those on-screen instructions and you should be able to set it up no problem. All right, let's talk about how these machines are different than the 3 series machines. So again, these are the 4 series machines. This is the Cricut Maker 4 and the Cricut Explore 4. I actually have both the Cricut Maker 3 and the Cricut Explore 3, so I was able to do a thorough comparison between all of the machines. And honestly, there are not a lot of differences, but let's go ahead and talk about them. Let's start off by talking about color. So these machines come in 2 colors. So the color I have here, they're calling Seashell. And honestly, I was expecting a slightly more neutral color, but they are slightly pink, and I really like that. So I'm actually really happy with this. I don't think you're gonna be able to see it in the video here, but the top of this is almost a rose gold on the Maker. It's really pretty. They also have another color they're calling Sage. It's sort of a moody greenish blue color. I really like it. That particular model is only being sold in Michael's stores as a bundle. So I'll talk about that a little bit more in a while, but basically those are your two options. You can get these in this pretty seashell color, or you can get them in that sage color. And they're actually designed to work really well with your home decor. So in the past, Cricuts have been very bright, but these were designed for people who want to craft in the spaces that they live in. So instead of having these bright, fun colors, they've come with these more neutral colors. And I actually think these are going to appeal to a lot of people. You can put this machine on the shelf and it's not going to stand out as a cutting machine. It's just going to kind of blend in with your decor. And then, like I mentioned before, one of the things that's different with these machines than the last series of machines is the fact that Cricut is trying to make them easier to use. So they do give you way more in the box, which is awesome. And they've also made a lot of updates to Cricut Design Space to really help beginners get started. There are so many people who buy Cricuts and then just leave them in the box, allow them to collect dust. And it's really heartbreaking because I'm like, I want you to learn how to use your Cricut, right? And so Cricut is really working to come up with more ways to get people to actually start to use their machines instead of letting them gather dust. Additionally, Cricut has worked to get the price down on these a little bit. So the Cricut Explore 3 launched at $319. The Cricut Explore 4 is only $249. I think that's a $70 difference. So there is quite a big difference in the prices between this machine and the last one. The Cricut Maker 4 is retailing for $399, whereas the Cricut Maker 3 actually was $429. So they have been working to get the price down a little bit and hopefully make it accessible to some more crafters. So those are sort of the small differences. The biggest difference is the speed. They have made both of these machines much faster with cutting on a mat. So there was a huge speed improvement between the 3 series machines and the machines that came before them. So when I tested my original Maker against my Cricut Maker 3, the Maker 3 was so much faster. But it was so much faster mostly on just those matless materials. And we don't always use matless materials, especially if you're something like a paper crafter or if you're using print then cut. So I was really excited to see that the main thing they've done in these machines is speed up the processing for projects that you're making on a mat. Yes, it can still cut those matless materials very fast. However, I am so excited to be able to say that it will cut materials on a mat really fast as well. I ended up doing a bunch of speed tests, and I'm going to share a few of them here so that you can see the difference between the old machine and the new machine. I did the first test with my Maker. I did the second 2 with my Explorer. I was just testing a bunch of different things on a bunch of different machines, and I think these 3 are the best to share with you. So one of the things I noticed is that there is a little bit of lag time in these new machines. And there was lag time in the Cricut 3 machines as well, but I feel like over time, through software updates, that lag lessened. So I'm pretty confident that that lag that you're going to see will speed up over time. However, it does lag a little bit as it's sort of thinking about the project it's going to make. Now, of course, it really depends on both your image and your material on how fast these machines are going to work. If you have a very delicate design with lots of tiny details, you're not going to see a huge speed improvement because the machine can only move so fast in that tiny area. A lot of the speed improvements come with just how fast the carriage is moving along those roller bars. So if you are cutting something really intricate, you're going to see maybe a small increase, but you're not going to see this huge increase. It also depends on the material. If you're using your Maker to cut something with the knife blade, it's going to move slowly. If you're using either machine to foil something, it's going to move more slowly so that the foil doesn't rip. But if you're just cutting like big cardstock, these things are very, very fast. All right, let's take a look at these speed tests I did. The first was using my Cricut Maker 4, and I cut 2 large sort of 11-inch hearts with a bunch of details. I wanted to get something that was long enough to cut that could really show the difference between the 2 machines. In this test, you're going to see that my Maker 4 does have a big lag time, but it's still so much faster than the Maker 3. The second test I ran was using Print Then Cut. So I actually use Print Then Cut a lot for my small business chapter and craft. I make a lot of bookmarks using my Cricut. And so an improvement in speed in Print Then Cut would actually speed up my business, and that's awesome. Again, with this test, you'll see that my Explore 4 did have a little bit of lag at the beginning, but it still finished well ahead of that Explore 3. And then for the third test I'm going to show you here, I actually cut the same heart that I cut on cardstock with my Maker, but I made it much smaller. So this is on smart vinyl and the image is about 3 inches high. So you'll notice there is just a very slight lag with my Explore 4 on this one, and it cut it in about the same time as the Explore 3. So there wasn't a huge difference here, and I think that's because 1, we were cutting smart materials without a mat, and that was already really fast on the 3 series machines, and 2, it was a small intricate project. And like I said, when you're using details, you're just not going to see quite the speed improvements you do when cutting something larger. So those are the big differences between the machines. We obviously have the difference in speed, we have the difference in color, we have the difference in cost, we have the difference in ease of use, and additionally we have that little plug difference, which I'm really happy about as well. Now I did mention that the sage color can only be found at Michael's, and I want to talk about this bundle just a little bit more in case you want to do that. In addition to everything I've talked about that comes in the box, you're also going to get other materials to work with as well as a few tools. You're going to get 6 sheets of smart vinyl, 6 sheets of cardstock, 6 sheets of smart iron-on, and 5 sheets of transfer tape. And all of these are sort of full-size materials. We're talking 13 by 12, 12 by 12, so you can make a lot more projects with the materials that you're getting in the bundle. You'll also get a tool set, so you'll also get a full-size weeding tool, you'll get a scraper, a spatula, and a scoring stylus. You'll also get a standard green cutting mat as well as 2 pens. If you do want to grab that sage colored machine with this bundle, the Explorer is going to run you $299 for the whole bundle, and the Maker 4 is going to run you $449 for the whole bundle. Before we get into whether or not you should buy one, I have a few more things. So the first is that the older machines aren't really going anywhere. Cricut has sort of stopped selling the original Maker as well as the Cricut Explore Air 2. You can still find them. They have refurbished ones on their website, but they aren't actively really like selling a lot of them new. They were promoting more of the 3 machines. So they're still going to be selling those 3 series machines along with these new 4 series machines. And the other thing you don't have to worry about is support. Basically, those older machines are kind of based on the same system as these machines. So if you have that original Cricut Maker, don't worry, they're still gonna support it. If you have the Cricut Explore Air 2, don't worry, they're still gonna support it. And then you might be wondering if all of your current Cricut tools and accessories work with these machines. If you have any tools and accessories for any of the Explore machines, they're gonna work with the Explore. If you have any of the tools and accessories for the Maker machine, they're gonna work with the Maker. A lot of those are interchangeable, like the mats and the scoring stylus and the foil blade. A lot of those are interchangeable. The only thing that really isn't interchangeable between these two machines are the tools that go inside this particular carriage that have the gold gear at the top. So that gives the Maker so much more capability than the Explore for using things like the knife blade and the scoring wheel and other tools like that. Even this new Explore machine won't work with those. So the question is, do you need to upgrade? And of course, this is up to you. There will be those hardcore Cricut fans who go out and basically upgrade everything every time Cricut comes out with something new. And then I think also if you're a paper crafter or you use print then cut a lot, maybe if you have a small business, this might be a good upgrade specifically for you because it can cut on that mat so much faster than the other machines. This is actually a great upgrade for me because I do use print then cut all the time and I'm definitely going to be using these machines for my small business. However, if you're happy with your current machine, you don't need to rush out and buy a new Cricut. It's kind of like your phone. You know when you need to upgrade, right? If your machine is so old it's just not working anymore or you really want to upgrade, you know when the right time is. If you're watching this video researching whether or not you want to buy one of these new machines, I would say go for it. I think the price point is really great, especially when compared to the 3 Series machines, and I love how fast they are. All right, so that is an overview of the Cricut Explore 4 and the Cricut Maker 4. If you have any questions about these new machines, of course, I would be happy to answer those down in the comments. If you found this video helpful or inspiring in your buying decisions, please give it a like. Follow my channel for more Cricut content. I'll see you next time.